Hi beautiful people, happy Wednesday. Hope everybody is doing fantastic wherever you are in the world. Hope you guys are doing well after the storms that we've had in the past 2 days. I know we had a little bit of damage, but you know what, we're good. So this is part 2 of Without a Crystal Ball, using GYPSY Rose for Clout. So let's get into it, but before that, my usual disclaimer. Please do not take what I say as fact. Please feel free to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. In the previous video, I showed you the text between GYPSY Rose and Nicholas Godejohn when they were conspiring or planning, whatever word you want to use, Gypsy's mom's unaliving. That actually took place before the unaliving happened, and that was from a Dr. Phil interview done in 2017. So let's take a look at what Katie Joy was selling. So she posted actual text messages between GYPSY Rose and her co-defendant, to which she says Nicholas Godejohn wasn't manipulated by GYPSY. He frequently threatened her and demanded she obey him. It's all in the trial text messages. But what you're not showing, Katie Joy, are the messages between GYPSY and Nicholas, that GYPSY used Nicholas or even conspired with Nicholas to unalive her mother. And what we also saw was that she was aware of his split personality, and if I am correct, she even said that she made alter egos to fit his. So let's get the whole story, not just the ones that make Nick look so bad. But anyway, moving forward. Then she posted, Christy Blanchard is exactly who GYPSY says she is. Christy Blanchard is praised by GYPSY Rose Blanchard as being the mom that she never had in the new docuseries. Christy went to GYPSY's parole hearing and advocated for GYPSY. Christy always wanted a relationship with GYPSY and loved her from the day she was born. Christy and Rod began dating when GYPSY was 6 months old, and she'd loved her since then. I have been friends with here we go again. I have been friends with Christy 4.5 years because of my son's medical condition. I haven't met her face to face, but we FaceTimed and talked on the phone for hours. Exactly the same thing you said about Lindsay Chrisley, right? Okay. When GYPSY was released from prison, Christy texted me and we were both crying. She said, I wish I could hug you right now because you've been there for me through so much. Okay, Katie. Then a few days later, she said, if I have to fly to you, I will fly to Minnesota to give you a hug and make you come home. Didn't you tell her that you only eat M&Ms, Katie Joy? So, Katie Joy, how come throughout the GYPSY Rose stint in prison, you were never reporting on GYPSY? Apparently, GYPSY was using other people on the outside to get messages out to the public that she needed them to hear, whereas Christy never gave you any exclusives, since you claimed that you were so close, and you said she told you she was a fan, and you said yourself that she knew that the media follows you. Weird. Besides, you need to start reading the room, Katie Joy. This good friend of yours that you claim that you built the special bond with called you the morning GYPSY was released. So what? So you could use your platform and get the word out so GYPSY will get more attention? I don't get to travel because I can't leave my son due to his health. Our friendship formed over her understanding of my life and my understanding of her life being a stepmom to GYPSY. Christy isn't about fame or money. She didn't travel to New York and wasn't at the premiere of the series. Rod works in the oil industry as a captain of a ship. His job keeps him away for 28 days away and 28 days at home. This has been their life for decades. Rod is a very smart man, and he didn't abandon GYPSY. Didi was very good at her manipulation and destroyed relationships. She told GYPSY lies about Rod to break their bond. Rod has a lot of guilt for not doing enough. He has guilt for not being there due to his job. He has guilt. Christy spent the bulk of GYPSY's incarceration being an ear to GYPSY to help her work through the trauma and make sense of her life. She arranged therapy for Gypsy's release and found a production company to help Gypsy tell her story. So, Katie Joy, when are you going to stop treating your son like he has to live in a bubble and like his dad is not capable of taking care of him when you're not around? You don't want to leave your house. Stop using your son as an excuse, because you're the one that doesn't want to leave your house. Because you're the one that needs to make 3 videos a day and stalk other people's social media to sustain what you have built and to replenish all the money you threw down the drain on lawsuits that could have been avoided. So once again, stop using your son as an excuse. It proves that by Christy not going to New York, that she isn't about the fame and the money. Prior to Gypsy's release, how many interviews has she done? Once again, this is just my opinion. Let me use Katie Joy as an example, because there's other people out there that cover Katie Joy and pay attention to her with their son, and they have suspicions about her from watching her online with her son and the way she talks about her son, about his situation, about his diagnosis and what she says he has and then he doesn't have. And these parents had no inkling that this was being done to their daughter. Rod just thought Didi was such a good, devoted mom. Not his words. They all failed Gypsy because they all knew who Didi was, and maybe they just didn't want to be burdened with the responsibility. Once again, my opinion, because through the docuseries, it shows how people were under the suspicion that Didi might have unalived her own mother, how Didi herself was trying to poison her stepmother. But nobody cared to always wonder, but why is this child always so sick? Or why is Didi saying one thing, but when she's by her grandfather, she's doing the total opposite? Nobody thought to even question, why is she separating her? Why is she isolating her? Why are they moving to be secluded? It's my thoughts, thinking out loud, people. And also now they are riddled with guilt. Is that hindering them from doing what Gypsy truly needs and what's best for her? And that is this parental figure that are now supposed to protect her, guide her, teach her about boundaries, about the world and everything else that goes on in the world that could affect her, and that she did not learn properly from mother, obviously. From the prison system, she couldn't have learned life skills. And especially, why are they just being yes men? Letting her go to New York on her own. Maybe I'm just cut from different cloth, but if I was in the situation, I would be like fly on shit with her, always wanting to make sure she's okay if she's navigating things properly. But who am I? In my opinion, Christy could never help Gypsy through her trauma. Only Gypsy could do that with a professional, one-on-one, in my opinion, which I don't think that she got in prison. Yippee for Christy, because Christy made a phone call to set up a therapist for Gypsy and found Gypsy a production company to tell her story. Can we have a round of applause for Christy? Wonderful. Now, once again, my opinion, Gypsy has the rest of her life to tell her story. Gypsy's well-being, her mental health, her mental state, that is number one priority. Yet Christy made it her mission to get this production team and not get Gypsies to slow down, take it easy, work on herself first instead of jumping into stuff. Being the adult, being like the caregiver, is her mental state able to deal with all this? Because it seems as though they are right on board with all this attention that comes with Gypsy. And P.S., doesn't Gypsy have a brother? And if so, I wonder why he's not talking. Then Katie Joy goes on and says the act devastated the family because the entire series was fictional. The reason Gypsy is doing this now is because Hollywood exploited her story and told the story wrong. Well, as Gypsy said in an interview, that she didn't want to Hollywood up the story. Why did the act get it wrong? Because I heard that they couldn't get access to Gypsy in prison. That's weird, because HBO had access to her when she did Mummy Dead Dearest. Didn't she have access to that? I'm sure she had access to that because she was so proud of that, or they were so proud of it. So correct me if I'm wrong, because at the end of the day, I feel that Gypsy always just wants control. Once again, just me, what I'm observing. Then she goes ahead and she says, Gypsy doesn't want fame. She's a very shy and reserved person. Lifetime is the vehicle that is working on social media at the moment to promote their show. She is working. I just wish everyone could see the woman Christy is at her core. If Gypsy didn't want fame, she would have turned down all these people that she is doing these press tours with and the docuseries with, and taken, and I hate this, taking care of herself first. I think she is addicted to the fame, the attention. And I'm sure we will find out who Christy is. Like everything else, time will tell. Next post, Blanchard's twisted lies to doctors exposed. Gypsy Rose Blanchard is sharing a story in a Lifetime docu-series titled The Prison Confession of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. In the first 4 episodes, Gypsy went into great detail about her mum's medical abuse of her. Doctors interviewed shared their insights and even admitted to failing Gypsy, which I can commend them for that, because at the end of the day, it also showed that they did try. Today I viewed medical records which were part of her criminal case with a close friend of the family. You mean your source, Katie Joy? The records were from 2011 when Gypsy met with neurology for a follow-up on her conditions. A few pieces of information immediately grabbed me as a mother of oh hell fucking no. Oh hell no. Of a mother with a neurological condition. Dee self-reported that Gypsy had a cyst in her back called syrinx between her C7 and C8 cervical spine. Syrinx is commonly associated with the medical... Oh, Lord have mercy. Dr. Paulson now explains. Syrinx is commonly associated with a condition called Chiari malformation and are found via MRI scans. The scans use an iodine dye to view the movement of fluid in the spine and brain. Dee provided the neurologist no evidence of a scan showing the syrinx nor any medical records of syrinx being diagnosed. She claimed the records were lost after Hurricane Katrina. Dee then reported to the doctor that Gypsy had an anaphylactic allergy to the iodine dye used for the MRI scans. This meant a follow-up MRI with dye to review the syrinx would be impossible. The neurologist did a full physical exam of Gypsy. Dee told the neurologist that Gypsy was paralyzed from the waist down and claimed the syrinx caused Gypsy back pain, for which Gypsy was prescribed Valium to manage the pain. During the doctor's evaluation, they noted that Gypsy responded to touch on her lower extremities. They expected her to not have any reflex or sensation to very light touch. The doctor also noted that they wanted Dee to provide records to prove the specific disorders that she reported and wanted Dee to take Gypsy to a larger hospital in Kansas City to properly diagnose the disorders. Dee told the doctor she didn't want to have Gypsy diagnosed and she didn't want to have more testing done because she was satisfied that Gypsy was stable. Dee clearly knew to avoid further testing and put massive roadblocks in the doctor's way, and the doctor never pushed back. Then she posed Gypsy's new life. If you watch the finale of Gypsy Rose Blanchard's docuseries, you know a large portion of the final 2 episodes was dedicated to her marriage with Ryan Anderson. Here is a bit of insight I can provide you from the family. Katie Joy is making this sound like she's getting this directly from the family. I can guarantee you no, she's getting this from interviews that the family has done. Rod and Christy Blanchard support Gypsy in a new marriage and love her unconditionally. Even though they both expressed reservations in the series, they remain committed to supporting Gypsy. The therapist in the series gives the new marriage a grim prognosis, given Gypsy's history of severe child abuse, trauma, and lack of real life experience. Gypsy's family has told me over and over that they support Gypsy no matter what. The last thing they want to do is try to control her life or her choices. Part of that means that Gypsy needs to be able to make choices as an adult. If the marriage doesn't work out, they will be there to help her pick up pieces. Wow. Christy and Rod, along with a group of friends, rented a place in Kansas, which was pre-approved by Gypsy's parole officer in Louisiana. Unfortunately, her parole officer in Missouri wants her to report to the state that she was paroled to immediately. The news devastated Gypsy for a brief time, but she rebounded and understood. But you said TMZ lied about this, Katie Joy. Just reminding you. Mia remains pretty protective of Gypsy. All she wants is the best for her sister. Christy and Rod have remained in the background since her release to give Gypsy and Ryan time to connect as a couple. They didn't attend the premiere in New York or travel with Gypsy for the promotional interviews. They stayed back and went deer hunting. Gypsy and Ryan remain committed to therapy and healing. Gypsy is motivated to work through her trauma and find healthy coping strategies. That's all for now. Like I said, there was nothing in this post that was groundbreaking. It's all been heard before from an interview that Katie Joy promoted of Gypsy's stepmom doing an interview with Ashley Banfield on News Nation. 99% of what she mentioned there was in that interview. So she's trying to pull it off as she has such close ties, which in my opinion, I definitely do not think so, because everything Katie Joy has been reporting on, you can find in some interview. And when she was given an advance copy of Gypsy's ebook, she went and she divulged information which she shouldn't have, and she was asked to take it down because she removed that post very quickly. That insight that she claimed she had from the family was outsourced from another interview. Just stop. You, in my opinion, is no different than any other blogger that contacts their spokesperson and is given information from the spokesperson. So when Gypsy was released and things were drug up with Fancy, you were the perfect one to use, or maybe you volunteered tribute and went after Fancy on their behalf, because this is a pattern of yours, that when you claim how you love a family so much and you protest for a family, you decided to go after Fancy on their behalf. And Christy made Gypsy aware how you were standing up against Fancy, and that is how she became aware of you, and that's when she left a comment under one of your videos, or no, under one of your posts, and that hyped you up, and now you're just waiting for a return on your investment, in my opinion. You always have and you always be all about yourself. We have witnessed time and time again how you use these kinds of families for their stories, for their trauma and clout. And when they don't abide, or something else doesn't work out, you in turn turn on them. And Gypsy and her family is no exception, in my opinion. Now, in regard to Gypsy, for over 20 years she was tortured and abused and held prisoner by her own mother, all for attention. And Gypsy ended up colluding with Nicholas Godejohn because she felt that was the only way out of this situation, to which she helped him, conspired with him to commit this unaliving. And that's how she ended up in a real prison, where she felt, as she said, she felt the most freedom she had ever experienced, which was so sad. She has a lifetime of trauma to work through, and she admits that she is still dealing with the trauma. Prison is not known to reform or rehabilitate you. Who knows what else Gypsy Rose experienced in prison? I'm no mental expert or anything like that, but I'm sure she must suffer from severe PTSD. She has not navigated the outside world. She has just come out of prison, a married woman, and an instant social media star. In my opinion, she should have given herself time to adjust, learn who she is as a person, an individual person, gone into her hiatus, figured all this out, taken care of her trauma, her mental space, prepared herself for the future, learn how to cope with being in the real world. She should have given herself time to adjust, surrounded herself with people that want her to fully heal and that can help her create boundaries, and not people that are there allowing her to make mistakes unnecessarily that could have her crash and burn. The fame, attention, and money will always be there. But to me, it seems as though Gypsy had it figured out a while ago that she wanted the fame and the attention. Because if you pay attention, her Instagram was opened well over 2 months before she was released. And if you listen to her interviews she did with this whole press tour, when they ask her what does she want to do, the first thing she says, before even saying an advocate, she says she wants to be an influencer. What does that tell you? It tells me she likes the attention, she likes the notoriety, she likes the fame. And the same thing that her stepmother said in an interview with Ashley Banfield, and that Gypsy wants to be an influencer. And that interview was just done on January 5th. Is she ready emotionally, mentally, for the negativity, for the whatever backlash she gets? Is she really ready? And stepmom even said that she is handling her own social media.
Fans have followed not only the story of Gypsy, but also her social media. I think she's, at last count, around 6 million followers with Instagram and TikTok maybe combined. That means she's now a public figure. Is there any concern about her safety, and are you all doing anything to ensure that she's going to be okay in her newfound freedom but also newfound fame?
Yeah, I mean, we want to get someone to help her, control her social media, because she's still learning.
Gypsy still seems to love and want the attention and still needs the codependency. And her husband himself loves the attention. He's all for the attention. And that's what's so mind-blowing. At the end of the day, when all this attention dies down, I hope she will be able to handle not getting all this attention, because the press have what they want now. And that was the first interview. Now they're going to move on to the next story. I wish Gypsy would have taken an hiatus. Like, remember when Elizabeth, I'm not saying their stories are exactly the same, but remember when Elizabeth Smart went through her trauma of being kidnapped? She went away, not went away, but she took an hiatus, or she went into hiding for a long time before she came out and spoke about her situation, wrote her book. She did what she needed to do for herself. And I wish Gypsy would have done the same thing, just for her own sake. But with ending this, I wish Gypsy all the best. I wish her nothing but much success. But I will not be referring to her as queen, as Without a Crystal Ball calls her. She is a victim that became a perpetrator, and there's still a man behind bars that Gypsy has no remorse for. She got him to help her get rid of her mum, and now she left him out to dry with no remorse. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Let me know what you guys think about all this. Please be safe out there. Be kind to one another, and don't forget, make good memories. Bye guys.